as we go through. Oh, hey, here we are.
Got it.
Hi, Dale. Can you hear me all right?
I can't hear you very well.
You can't hear me, Dale. No?
How you
Can you
doing?
hear me now? Yeah?
Yeah, I can.
I'm just turning off comment. And Dale,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us. I was just
no
saying
problems.
to those who are listening that you're quite an unusual guest for me because you aren't from the jewelry world. You've come into this world from a very different angle, and that's what is so interesting, is because you see diamonds very differently. So do you want to just give a little introduction to who you are and why we're talking diamonds?
Okie doke. Well, my name's Dale Vince, and I'm an environmentalist more than anything else. I've been running a company called Ecotricity for about 25 years. We were the world's first green energy company, and I got into that in order to fight the climate crisis back in the 90s. We turned our attention from energy into transport and food in the early 2000s because they're big environmental issues. And about 7 years ago, I started thinking about how to take carbon out of the atmosphere and what we could do with it to lock it up permanently, and realized that diamonds are the most permanent form of carbon that we know, and had the idea to make diamonds from atmospheric carbon, which is a mad idea. And took about, well, it took until now, really. We've been making them for a couple of years, and last November we launched the concept. Just told everybody what we were doing. We are making diamonds, and we are making them from thin air, which is perhaps a little bit implausible,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
quite
that's
magical.
so different because lab-grown diamonds have been around since the 50s. And, the Americans developed technology, the Russians did as well. And then there came a sort of tipping point when they were able to grow bigger diamonds in more consistent sizes and quality. And then you came in from a totally different angle, and you saw the carbon capturing as the way to do it, but also how to do it with less than zero emissions, which I think makes you unique.
Yeah, that's right. HPHT, I think it's called, the process from the 50s that you mentioned, has been making industrial diamonds for a while. And then this new process of CVD came along, I think, more or less about the same time as we started to look into the R&D that it would take to get carbon and turn it into a diamond. So this new way of making diamonds has been very helpful to us. And we've built our process alongside that, CVD diamond making, which, as you say, but our entire process is designed to be low impact. So we power energy. Our entire ingredient list is the wind, the sun, rain, and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That's it. And our process and our stones are carbon negative. They're not carbon neutral. They're not carbon. They're less than no carbon. If you
Yes, so,
if you
so
know what I
you've
mean.
actually hit upon one of the sort of criticisms that has been leveled at lab-grown diamonds, because their big claim is that they have obviously a totally traceable route to market, but also that they are sustainable. But if they're using energy that isn't renewable, then they're not totally sustainable. And you came to that even before I think that was being questioned.
Yeah, and I think that's being questioned by the mining industry, as far as I can tell, that have commissioned reports into lab-grown diamonds. And I think, it's questionable. The data that they put out there is questionable. What we found was that there was no independent report into the environment impact of diamond mining. So we commissioned one from Imperial College in London. I think it's going to be released in a couple of weeks' time. And it shows an incredible footprint of mining diamonds. It's way bigger than any lab-grown diamond. It really doesn't matter what energy you use in a lab-grown diamond. It's going to be cleaner than a mined diamond. So, for example, carbon footprint of a 1 carat mined stone is about 100 kilograms. And the total greenhouse gas footprint of a 1 carat, which is a very small stone, is about half a ton, and uses about 4,000 liters of water at the same time. It's a very energy consuming, destructive, pollution goes on as well. The
Yeah.
report's out in a few weeks' time, but I think the mining industry have been pointing the finger at the lab-grown industry and saying, "Oh, you use a lot of energy," but actually, it's misdirection.
But
Is what I
you
would say.
use all renewable energy. But my point was that you were thinking about this way, what, 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so way ahead of the curve.
yeah, I mean, we are a green energy company, you know. Everything we do is about sustainability. And so, of course, it would be natural for us to use green energy in everything that we do. We run a football club as well, Forest Green Rovers. You know, we're rated carbon neutral by the UN and stuff like that. And everything we do is about having a low impact. So, yeah, it was natural to bring that into diamonds as well. And we're excited to do it because although I set out to find a way to capture carbon and lock it up permanently, what we've found is that the amount of carbon in a diamond is, of course, really quite small. But the amount of carbon emitted by the mining of diamonds is huge. And so our avoided carbon footprint is far more valuable than our actual locked up carbon in a diamond, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so when we launched in November, we did that at the same time as calling for the end of diamond mining because we no longer need to do that. Our argument is that we can mine the sky. You know, there's an entirely benign way that we can make diamonds. We can still have bling, but without the sting, the environment and the ethical sting. We shouldn't overlook the working conditions and that kind of stuff that go on in diamond mines.
Yeah, and you've hit upon a really interesting paradox, which is quite poetic, and it's that the thing that we have way too much of, which is CO2, you can now convert into one of the most valuable elements in the world, which is a diamond.
Yeah, as we like to say, it's taking something we have too much of and turning it into something we quite like to have. You know, I mean, diamonds
Uh-huh.
aren't essential, but we like to have them.
So were you interested in diamonds or jewelry at all before you hit upon this idea?
I would say moderately, you know, maybe no more or no less than the average person. I'm not really sure. I wasn't like a big diamond fan, but you know, they're very interesting things to look at, aren't they? And they're quite evocative diamonds, I would say. Some of that is down to the very successful marketing of the diamond companies since the
Hmm.
50s, funnily enough. But you know, yeah. I'm an
Yeah.
environmentalist first, but you know, I'm an environmentalist that's kind of bumped into contradictions all my life. You know, I'm a petrol head. I like high performance cars and motorbikes, and so in 2008 we made a supercar, an electric supercar, before you could buy one in the world. And you know, I'm a big believer that living a green life isn't about giving stuff up. It's just about doing things differently. So we operate in the fields of energy. You know, whether we're talking burgers, cars, football, or diamonds, what we're saying is there's a different way to do everything, a lower impact, better way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly a diverse range of things from, as you say, your football club as well. And your process is different because you've built a facility in the Cotswolds where you generate everything that you need to create a diamond.
Yep, it's here in Stroud. We have a little place actually where we make windmills, burgers, and diamonds all in the same yard. Different buildings, same yard, and that's the kind of eclectic range of things that we're involved in. But we have a facility we call our Sky Mining Works, where we pull air out of the atmosphere. We take the carbon from that, and then we put the air back, and it goes back cleaner than we take it out, which is, I think, an industrial first. There's no other industrial process, I think, in the world that does that. And we use renewable energy to power ourselves. We capture rain, split that to make hydrogen, and we take the hydrogen and the carbon dioxide and we combine it to make methane, and then we feed a cocktail of gases to our diamond machines. So
And
it's
those gases, you're saying as well, you don't need to source those externally. You either create them through chemical processes
we take them all from the air.
or from the air. Yeah.
Yep,
And
yep.
if I bring up a little video, Dale, of the actual machines where you cook these diamonds, maybe you could explain what's happening. Let me see which bit I've
Sure.
got here. Let me have a look. So you say that it's the physical vapor deposition method, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the chemical vapor disposition. I think the CVD stands for, yeah.
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to show you that. There you are. There's the power. That's you,
Yeah.
Dale, isn't it?
That's us making power from the wind and the sun. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the UK. So sun is a limited supply, but it seems to work. And I've got this little clip here. So
Oh yeah, that's a rough stone being cut, and the square shape that just fell down is the black stuff around the edge, and we end up with a cylinder that we send away to the diamond polishers. Those cylinders at the top are pure diamond, and the black shape a bit less so.
And how long does it take from extracting the air to getting to this stage?
It's about 14 days, and it all happens in a ball of plasma that's about this big, as big as a small loaf of bread, runs at about 1,000 degrees centigrade. And within the plasma, on tiny diamond seeds, we grow diamonds by pumping our gas into the plasma. It crystallizes into a diamond form.
And where do those diamond seeds come from?
We make them.
You make them as well, okay.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Good. And well, what's interesting about lab-grown diamonds, this is a process, isn't it? So that's the different
stages. Yeah, the little square thing there is the seed, flat thing rather, and then everything else is part of the process.
Right. And so far you've, I think, well, you've been making these diamonds for a couple of years now, and I think you've refined the process, haven't you?
Yeah, we've made, I think maybe 500 carats now. We're kind of just coming into production. We can make about 200 carats a month. I've got a bunch of them here that I can show you that we've been using. I don't know if I can tilt them to the camera. I think I can.
Wow, that's quite tight.
There's a bunch of them there.
Can we see those again? Just to the.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was a bit quick. It's a bit tricky.
You've been handling them for way too long, Dale. You've become a bit blasé about it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of diamonds. Yeah.
Wow.
There's about £1 million worth there, apparently, allegedly. And this here is, I'll hold up to the, you can see there's a diamond in there. We made that, and this is an early concept of a jewelry range that we're going to launch in the summer with a British designer jeweler. Details of that are secret, but I'm wearing the early version, which is fun.
I'm not anything, but can we have a look at it again and see?
Sorry, yes. It's all too fast, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. So the guy we're working with has designed a range of cuts of stones. I think there's 5 different cuts that are unique, and then a range of jewelry that really kind of speaks to the provenance of our stones coming from the sky. So it's a lovely creative concept. So I'm looking forward to launching it and getting it out there,
And that's going to be in spring, isn't it?
Yeah, I was hoping spring, but I spoke to him this week and he said, oh, well, maybe the summer. There's another one there.
Okay. Oh, you got it attached to your neck. So
yeah, it's on my neck. Yeah.
You come with it.
I could take it off.
And is that white gold or is it silver? What has he made it in?
White gold.
That is white gold. Okay,
white gold.
Great. And so you're obviously capturing carbon, you're making the air cleaner than it was. But what is your long-term plan with diamonds? Do you intend to stay in the diamond business? Do you intend to, have a permanent jewelry range? How do you see it?
Yeah, the partnership in jewelry, we hope to be permanent. And as far as diamonds are concerned, I think we want to have an impact, which is what we try to do in everything that we do. We want to change the world of diamonds now. We've been instrumental in energy from starting 25 years ago. There was no renewable energy in Britain. There's 50% today on the grid. So that's a huge transformation.
And sorry,
in the 10 years.
Dale, at this point, you were the first person to build a windmill, is that right?
The first to sell green electricity, which
right.
Yes, which is kind of a new concept in 1995. And since we built our car in about 10 years ago, electric cars are really taking over, and we can see that change. And in the last few years, I think vegan diets are really having an impact as well. People are embracing them. We want to change the world in the sectors of energy, transport, and food. And we found ourselves kind of accidentally in the world of diamonds. And we can see the big impact that diamond mining is having, which is unnecessary. And so we'll hope to have an impact on that by scaling our own facility and seeding the idea really amongst other people, that there's a better way to do this. And I think particularly younger generations of people care about where things come from. And, there's growing demand for lab-grown stones, which you probably know better than I do, and that's because of that.
Yeah, so scaling demand. So you're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all
We
the
want
world
to change the world.
diamonds.
That's what we're here. That's what we're here for.
Right. But you were saying that the actual carbon capturing isn't the key element. It's more the message that you want to get across and to prove that it can be done differently.
Well, I started the thought process from a carbon capture point of view, is what I was saying. But what I discovered was in a carat of diamond, for example, which is I think 200.2 of a gram. Well, I'm not really sure now, but there's a tiny amount of carbon in a carat of stone. Like I think we use about 4 grams of carbon from the atmosphere to make a carat.
Right.
But that same stone, if you dig it out of the ground, will come with a greenhouse gas footprint of half a ton, 500 kilograms.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is I started this to get into carbon capture and found that actually carbon avoidance is a bigger, better outcome of this process than what we can actually lock up ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Dale, somebody's just asked, what about the livelihoods of those many millions of people involved in mining around the world?
I don't think it's millions.
No, not millions, in mining in general. Yeah, diamond mining is not right. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I mean, it's a fair point. You've got to also look at the working conditions of those people, and they're truly awful. You know, the diamond mining industry is not a good employer, and I think it does take advantage of the countries that host it. So yes, jobs will be lost in diamond mining, but that's true of every aspect of this green economy that we have to build. You know, jobs are going to be lost in the oil and gas industry. They're going to be lost in some aspects of the automotive industry, but actually we'll create more in oil and gas. We'll turn them into renewable. Cars are electrifying, so we keep jobs there. Every aspect of the green economy, where you close down one job, you open up another one. And you know, there's no reason why diamonds can't be grown in mined countries like, you know, in Africa, in Canada, in Russia. There's no reason they can't grow them there instead of mine them there and create a different kind of job, actually, you know, a higher quality, better paid, safer, cleaner job than they have now. I don't know if you've seen pictures of diamond mining, but the conditions of the people there are awful.
There's a very big variety, I think, yeah. And so are you saying that, I know a lot of your technology is patented, are you willing to share your technology with these countries perhaps? Is that on the cards?
Definitely. Yeah, because we want to have impact. So yes.
Yeah, it would involve that, wouldn't it? And as far as diamonds, lab-grown diamonds are cheaper, slightly, well, less expensive than mined diamonds. What do you think is going to happen with you as you scale up? How do you want to set your pricing and see them? Will they become a very democratic product, or will they still be something that is very rare and for the few?
I think the market for mined diamonds is opaque. We've spent some time looking at it, and the price varies considerably. You can pay 50% more or less to the same people for the same thing, depending on when you buy it and how you buy it, and it doesn't make sense to us. We think it's a market that abuses end users. We'd like to change that. We think a typical mined price for the top end stone in terms of quality is around about $1,000 per carat. That seems like an average. You can pay more, you can pay less. And so we're thinking that initially that we'll set our price at that level, but the same price for everybody whenever they buy one, to keep it straightforward and fair. Over time, we'd like to see our price come down because we want SkyDiamonds to be accessible to more people. And so as we scale production, we'll bring the price down for sure. But that's where we're going to enter the market, at about $1,000 per carat.
Okay. And have you found that over time you're getting better consistency? You know, can you predict exactly what's going to come out of your process, or is it still you know, let's see?
There's still a little bit of magic in there, not enough science for my liking, but for the last 2 years, we've been refining our process in a very scientific way. And, you know, we're achieving EFG, you know, on a fairly consistent basis, virtually flawless. So, you know, I'm told it's the top 1% of diamonds that come out with that kind of grading. And yeah, we're able to produce those fairly consistently. So that's useful.
Yeah, and what about, sorry, have you mentioned the largest size you've been able to grow yet?
At the moment, I think the largest we've grown is somewhere between 1 and 2 carats, but we've not been trying to stretch the envelope on that. We've been focused on quality, you know, the clarity and that kind of stuff. And we're also very interested in making pink. We made some accidentally a few weeks ago and
Accidentally.
really
I
love
don't
them.
remember what the accident was.
Well, we're trying to find out, but we've not been able to pin it down, which is a bit unfortunate. But we'd like to make pink, and I'd like to make sky blue as well, just because I think it would be a great signature color for us, being sky diamonds. So interesting color. Making the biggest stones we can doesn't interest us that much. I don't think that's where the kind of huge market is, but it'll be something that we can do. What you just have to start with a bigger seed. So at the moment we're focused the other way, making smaller stones. For this jewelry range, we're looking to make 1/2 and 1/4 carat stones instead of 1 carat, you know, to save the cutting and the wasting. So at the moment, we're not focused on the bigger stones, but it would be straightforward enough to do if we wanted to.
Have you contemplated a green diamond?
Yeah, thought about green. I'm not sure it makes for a great color. I mean,
Oh,
our
that's an
green.
amazing green
Oh, you
diamond.
think? Oh, really?
Incredible, yeah.
Okay.
Very
Well, we'll
unusual.
check it out. I mean, I'm a fan of this color of green, but you know, so a natural green diamond, a mined green diamond, is that grass green or a
Oh,
bright green?
I've seen vivid grass green. I've seen quite deep olivey green. They are really spectacular, very,
Yeah,
very
okay.
unusual. So that would
Yeah,
be a nice marketing
I like
one,
that.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
It's,
And Dale, for the end consumer, how do you intend for them to understand what they're purchasing? Is your plan that people will go into a high street jeweler and say, I want a sky diamond? Or is it something that you think will gently make its way into the supply chain and people will be happy to know? Which way, how are you looking at that?
it's a job to know, really. It kind of is going to depend on volume that we can make them at, and then the demand for them as well. So our jewelry joint venture is going to be global, online only, and you know, we've talked about this internally for a couple of years. It would be nice to be the Intel Inside equivalent, you know, in
Yeah.
computers. It would be nice to do that and have people, as you say, go into a high street jewelers and say, I want a sky diamond. That would be fabulous.
Mm.
It may take us a little while to get there, but maybe we can.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the challenges for the whole industry is you know to be able to make the consumer aware, to know what they're asking for, and to be able to market it together. And certainly you've got a very original proposition, and all the diamonds, am I right, all the diamonds are over a certain size are etched so that the consumer can always check the origin of their stone.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yes, that's our intention. Certainly for the bigger stones, because as well as jewelry, there'll be some, are they called shanks? I think they are just plain rings that you can add your stone to for engagement or marriage, a kind of bridal range. They'll be there as well for bigger single stones, and those stones definitely will come marked so that you know you're getting the right thing. I find it amusing because the mined industry has talked for a while about how lab-grown stones are kind of infiltrating the supply chain, and you might not know what you're getting, and there's a
Mm.
need to, you know, to have them marked so that you know you're getting a mined stone. We think it's the other way around, actually. We think people need to know they're not getting a mined stone.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's a particular problem with the very, very small stones. So do you do the very, very small ones, or are you doing more over a certain size?
Well, at the moment, we're just busy producing at round about 1 carat and
Okay.
just moving down to 1/2 a carat for the jewelry range. I think we're just producing. We'll start with about 900 carats for the beginning of the jewelry range. So we're not in a kind of established place, you know, where I can tell you this is what we do. We're just
Yeah.
kind of getting started.
Well, your jeweler will know what's going on. So I'm sure that you've considered the other elements that will go into the jewelry and where the gold will be sourced from.
Yeah, the guy we're working with is really big in recycled gold and fair trade and that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely taking those aspects into account as well.
So the jewelry you're wearing, that is with, is it fair mined, fair trade gold?
I'm going to have to
Oh,
ask him because
cool.
he whipped
Okay.
these up in a hurry for me, but I assume so because that's what he does.
Very good. And I know you're saying you didn't have a particularly emotional attachment to diamonds before this venture, but how do you feel about men wearing diamonds? Is this something that you'd like to see more of, or are you thinking it's leave it to the ladies?
Uh, Neither really, you know. I mean, I don't care what men wear particularly. That's up to them, if you know what I mean. I don't think anybody should be afraid to wear diamonds, you know, man or woman.
Mhm.
I don't have any real thoughts on it. You know, I'm ambivalent about what people wear. You know, whether it's clothes, jewelry, whatever. You know, I wear what I like, and I don't care what anybody thinks.
I suspect that, Dale. I imagine that. Yeah. And with the football club, can you see any synergy between Diamonds and your footballers? And
Well,
you've convinced
you
them all
know,
to be vegans.
I'd kind of like to, because at one point in this journey, we imagined that we could just make diamonds by the sackload, you know, and we could deliver them to companies in exchange for their carbon footprint. You know, we could say at the end of the year, this is your carbon footprint locked up in diamonds, and that's not looking so feasible. But I think what is feasible is to use some of the offcuts, the pave and that kind of stuff, and you know, maybe bear with a sec.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm coming back.
Have
I'm coming back.
you had enough of me, Dale?
I just wanted to get this. So this is our home shirt, and you know, on the back we've got this little place with 3 stars to. You can see it, can you?
No, we can't see.
Yeah.
Bring it a bit closer. Yeah, 3 stars.
Yeah, and that's to symbolize our progression up through the leagues of football. So 1 is colored in and 2 are not. We've had 1 promotion. We've got 2 more to go. And, you know, it would be quite nice to be able to drop a stone or a fraction of a stone into a shirt to commemorate a promotion or something like that. I think there's something we'd be able to do at Forest Green anyway, you know, because we have, Jeremy Corbyn, because we have, you know, creative ambitions. We like to have fun.
Great. And are your team members allowed to wear mine diamonds, or do they have to be?
Oh, I don't tell people what to do. You know.
No, and you won't have an official diamond ear stud or the one for your team.
We could do something like that. Absolutely. You know, we've got a lot of possibilities. We just haven't done anything yet. You know, it's coming. It's coming. We just cracked the process and got it into production, and we're just getting ready for this first retail venture. So everything else is possible.
Great. And do you have any idea of how many pieces are going to be produced over the year with this new retail venture with your jeweler, the scale of it?
Well, big, we hope.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that it will cope with our current rate of production, which is about 1,200, is it? No, 2,400. Call it 2,500 carats a year to begin with. But the facility we've built can increase in size 5-fold within its own infrastructure. So it's built to expand, which will take us to, I don't know, 12,000, 13,000 carats a year. So still really small in context of the whole market for diamonds, but I think it would be quite a decent sized jewelry range or jewelry brand at that. But that's our immediate horizon to do the 1,200 a year right now from launch, which may be late spring, summer, and then expand into the demand that we hope we find by adding more machines to our factory.
Fantastic. Well, Dale, that has been really interesting, and I think I really enjoyed it because we don't usually talk to somebody who comes totally outside of our industry. So it's really refreshing, and just say thank you for your time, and we'll keep updated on how you do and discover who this mystery jeweler is. I wonder if anyone's getting.
Yeah, and look, thanks for having me on, and apologies to you and all of your viewers for the delay. I had a mad busy day, but I'm glad I managed to make it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Dale. Very much appreciated.
No problems at all.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.